Hey, my dear detective, are you ready for a nice brain workout? Great, then let's get started.
Yeah.
William decided to go on vacation for a month. He went to a bank and asked for a loan of $500. The bank officer told the guy that the loan could only be approved if he mortgaged some valuables at the bank. William said he would mortgage his car, whose worth was a whopping $80,000. The bank officer was surprised, but he approved the loan instantly. After William's vacation was over, he came back to the bank. The bank officer asked him why he had mortgaged such an expensive car for such a small loan. William told him the reason, and the bank officer admitted it was a very clever plan. What did William say? The guy said that he mortgaged his car to keep his expensive vehicle safe while he was away. Plus, he saved a lot of money on parking. Miranda is practicing her dance steps together with her friends. In a particular sequence, all of them form a row. At that point, Miranda is the fourth from either side of the row. Can you figure out how many girls are practicing together? In total, there are 7 girls. Miranda is the fourth from either end of the row, which means there are 3 girls on one of her sides and 3 on the other. Ethan and his girlfriend took a flight to New York and reached their destination in 2.5 hours. After spending some quality time together, they flew back home. Surprisingly, this time it took them 150 minutes, even though the plane flew at the same speed. How is it possible? It's easy. 2.5 hours are the same as 150 minutes. Look at this matchstick arrangement. Do you see a donkey-shaped figure? Your task is to move just one matchstick to change the direction of its movement. That's how you can do it. 4 men can build 4 tables in 4 hours. In this case, how many tables will 8 men build in 8 hours? Was your first instinct to say 8 tables? Because that's what immediately came to my mind. But in fact, the correct answer is 16 tables, and it actually makes sense because 8 men worked twice as long as 4 men. Look at these people attentively. Who do you think is in greater danger? The lion won't necessarily attack the man, of course, if he doesn't provoke the animal. If the guy tries his best to look unthreatening, the lion might simply ignore him. But the snake can easily tighten its grip, which can end very badly for this woman. Mark came to visit his friends in Chicago. While they were having dinner, they told the guy about a mysterious building in their city. It had a very bad reputation. People said that those who once entered it never came back. Despite his friends' warnings, Mark decided to explore the building. The place looked creepy, and soon the guy realized he was lost. Whatever he did, he couldn't spot the exit. Suddenly, he found himself in a large room. There were 4 doors in this room. Behind the first door, there was a mummy. Behind the second door, a vampire was hiding. The third door led to a den of a hungry wolf. And behind the fourth door, there was a ghost. Which door should Mark opt for to get out of the house unscathed? The mummy can potentially be very dangerous. The vampire behind the second door is also far from friendly. The wolf, especially hungry, can easily attack a person. At the same time, the ghost is relatively harmless. Mark should choose the fourth door. Now, look at this image. Can you figure out which man is the girl's husband? Have you noticed that the woman and the man on the right are wearing identical wedding rings? That's the clue we need. Martha got into a trap set by a powerful witch. The girl got locked in a jail cell, and the only thing that could help her escape was a special magic elixir. Martha found 3 jars. The liquid from the first one could turn her into a superwoman. The second jar contained the liquid that turned people into zombies, and if Martha drank the elixir from the third jar, she would turn into a vampire. The effect of each elixir could last for half an hour. Which of them should Martha drink? Martha should wait till the morning and drink the elixir from the third jar. Then she'd be able to turn into a bat and fly out that tiny window. Can you figure out which of these women is alive? It's the woman on the right. Unlike the lips of the other 2 girls, her lips are red and plump. Plus, her hair is still growing. If you watch a time-lapse of them lying there, you can notice that the length of her hair is changing. Poor people have it, but rich people need it. If you eat it, you won't survive. What is it? It's nothing. Now this next riddle is kind of funny. To solve it, you need to think outside the box. Why are all the rivers in the world rich? They have 2 banks. Now, did you get it right? Imagine you're running a marathon, and right before the finish line, you pass by the person who's running the second. What place are you in now? You're still in second place. You've been faster than the person in second place, but not first. I can sting without moving. I can poison without touching. I can bear the truth and the lies. You can't judge me by my size. What am I? A word. You measure its life in hours and minutes, and it serves you by expiring. It's quick when it's thin and slow when it's fat. Its biggest enemy is the wind. The longer it lives, the smaller it becomes. What is it? A candle. You probably know that ants move in groups. In one such group, there were 2 ants in front of the other 2 ants, 2 ants behind the other 2 ants, and 2 ants next to the other 2 ants. How many ants were there in the group? A small hint. You probably won't need your calculator to crack this riddle. Even if it may seem there were a lot of ants in the group, in reality, there were just 4. They simply stood in a square formation. Did you get it right? There are some flowers growing in the field and some bees flying over them. How many flowers and bees are there if both of the following statements are true? If all the bees land on all the flowers, 1 bee for a flower, 1 bee won't get a flower. If every 2 bees decide to share a flower, one flower will be left without a bee. How fast will you be able to find the answer? There are 4 bees and 3 flowers. Once, Mrs. Smith, Peter, Paul, and Patrick's mom heard a loud sound of shattering glass coming from the living room. She ran into the room and saw that her favorite vase was broken. She also spotted a football. She asked her sons what had happened, and each of them told her his own version of the accident. Peter said that Paul hadn't kicked the ball. He added that he knew for sure that Patrick had done this. Paul said that Patrick wasn't guilty. He also added that he hadn't finished his homework. And Patrick said that Paul had broken the vase, and he knew that for sure because Peter didn't play football at home. How could Mrs. Smith understand who broke the vase if the following is true? One boy lied in both of his statements. 2 boys told the truth. Now, have you noticed that only one of Paul's statements is related to the accident? The one in which he says that Patrick isn't guilty? What he says about his homework changes nothing. The first of Peter's statement contradicts Patrick's first words and vice versa. This means that it's impossible for both of them to tell the truth. Peter and Paul can't both tell the truth as Paul's words contradict Patrick's second phrase. That's why Patrick and Paul can't lie, meaning that Peter lied in both of his statements. This way, Paul has broken the vase.
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.
The owner of the restaurant, Vegan Paradise, called the police. Someone has attacked our chef. He was taken to a hospital several minutes ago. My rivals must have sent someone to ruin my business. When police officers came to the restaurant, they found out that 3 people had been in the staff area during the accident. The first cook was cutting onions when the chef was hurt. He told the police that tears had blurred his vision and he hadn't seen anything. The second cook was peeling shrimps when the accident happened. He said that he had been listening to music through his earphones. And he hadn't heard anything. The third person, a waitress, claimed she had been serving lemonade outside. Who's lying? The second cook attacked the chef. There can't be shrimps in a vegan restaurant. Eric was having lunch in a cafe. At one point, he went to the bathroom and left his smartphone on the table. When he came back, the phone was missing. Eric saw a man leaving the place and ran after him. Eric stopped him when the man was about to sit in a car and asked him to return the gadget, but the man claimed to know nothing about the phone. He said that he had just given his friends a lift to work, and he pointed at 2 men entering an office building. After hearing this, Eric immediately called the police. Why? The man lied. His car is a sports convertible with just 2 seats. It can't fit 3 men. The police got a call from the house of a wealthy man who didn't come back after going for a jog. When several officers arrived, they questioned the maid, the millionaire's wife, and his driver. The maid said, "When Mr. Jones went for a jog, he asked me to prepare his breakfast, and I immediately got down to work. But it's been 3 hours, and he hasn't returned yet." The wife was worried too. "I saw him in the morning, but he was in a hurry. We just greeted each other and I went to work." The driver told the police he'd been waiting for his boss in the car, looking through his social media. Who knows something about the millionaire's disappearance? The maid's lying. If she had cut the apples for breakfast 3 hours ago, they would have turned brown by now. Now, look at poor Dwight. Someone has pulled a paint bucket prank on him. Look at his colleagues and try to figure out who it was. It was definitely Jim. Look at his pants. There are paint stains there. Now, look at these girls. Who's going to be the first to escape? It's going to be the first girl. She's got long, beautiful nails. She's bound to have a file to look after them. It can help her cut the rope. One of these people on the train is hiding some treasure. Who can it be? It's this woman. She pretends to be pregnant, but her belly is suspiciously square. Look at these two girls. Who will be the first to escape? The one on the right. She hasn't touched her food because she uses her spoon to dig a tunnel. The girl on the right has managed to escape, but the tunnel splits into two smaller ones. One is swarming with snakes, and in the other, a fire is raging. What should she do? She should dig another tunnel above these two. She's got her spoon after all. David was a famous antique dealer in his town, but there were loads of people who envied him. The man had a beautiful young daughter called Liza. One evening, when the antiquarian was busy in his workshop, his phone rang. A man told him that they had David's daughter. If he wanted to see her again, he had to give his jewelry collection to the man waiting at the doors. David requested to talk to his daughter. He asked her just one question. "I have two hands, but I can't scratch myself. What am I?" When David heard no answer, he said, "It's not my daughter," and hung up. What's the answer to this riddle? Liza would know that her father was talking about a clock. It took 9 years to build the world's tallest skyscraper. Every next year, the builders managed to double its height. How many years did it take the skyscraper to reach half of its maximum height? "8 years. If the constructors doubled the building's height every year, the skyscraper was half of its final height a year before it was completed." Divide 30 by 1/2 and add 10. What will you get? The correct answer is 70. Most people divide 30 by 2, add 10, and get 25. But when you divide a number by a fraction, you should actually multiply it by the denominator, which is the number below the line. This way, 30 times 2 plus 10 equals 70. You find yourself in the middle of a forest with 3 paths in front of you. The first one is covered with burning hot coals. The second path is so cold that it feels like Antarctica right under your feet. And the third path is covered with sharp nails. Which path should you choose? The second path. All that ice is bound to be gone soon. It's too close to the hot coals. The police were looking for Kyle for 2 days. The guy went hiking and never came back. Finally, he was found. Someone had hit him on the head and left him lying in the bushes. Kyle only managed to say, "Friend," and lost consciousness. The police officers had 3 suspects, all of them Kyle's friends. Zachary said he'd spent these last days at work getting ready for a conference. Jeremy told the detectives he sprained his ankle and had been in bed for 4 days. And Billy explained he'd been to New York for business. He even showed the police officers his boarding pass. Who's responsible for the accident with Kyle? Billy showed the police just one boarding pass. Then how did he get back from New York? His story sounds fishy. Jordan was very late for a job interview, but when he drove up to the office building, he found out there were no free parking spaces. He decided to leave his car a bit further from the entrance. Oh no, even though there were several other vehicles in that area, parking was prohibited there. Luckily, Jordan came up with an idea and didn't get fined. What did he do? He took a parking ticket from another car and put it on his windshield. It looked as if he'd already been fined. Hey, I didn't say it was an honest solution. That day, famous chef Logan was going to have some very important guests in his restaurant. He was anxious because his future depended on how they would appreciate his food. Everything had to be perfect. There was only 1 hour left before the guests were supposed to arrive. And that's when Logan discovered someone had left ugly red handprints on his sparkling white jacket. He examined the stains. It was ketchup. Logan knew that some of the cooks didn't like him. Look at them and tried to help the chef figure out who's guilty. There's a pair of gloves stained with something red in the trash can. The only person who isn't wearing any gloves is the cook on the left. He was the one to spoil Logan's uniform. Linda was in a cafe with her boyfriend, and their date wasn't going very well. At one point, they both got angry and started to argue. Suddenly, their waiter came up to the table and handed something to Linda. It was a note with a strangely written word. Lowercase t, uppercase r, lowercase o, uppercase u, lowercase b, lowercase l, lowercase e. Trouble? Linda was confused. What could it mean? Can you figure it out? It's a rebus puzzle. The waiter got worried and asked Linda, "Are you in trouble?"
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.